Welcome back to the SimTech podcast, the show where we explore the people, the tech, and the creativity behind clinical simulation. Today we're chatting with Mike, a recently appointed simulation technician who has recently made the move from working as a medical education assistant. Mike's journey is a great example of how skills from education, admin, and coordination roles can evolve into more technical, hands-on positions in simulation. We'll talk about what the transition looked like, what surprised him, and what he's learned so far, and his advice for anyone thinking about taking the similar steps. If you're curious about the routes into simulation or wondering what it's like to change lanes and step into the tech side of healthcare education, this episode is for you. So, let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the SimTech podcast. Today we're jumping behind the scenes and getting to know another member of its community. And I wouldn't be able to do that on my own, so I have obviously brought along a guest, special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Michael Johnson. Work for George Eliot Hospital, NHS Trust, as a simulation technician.
How long have you been doing it for?
I've been doing it since 2023, but before then I was a bit of a hobbyist, so
Officially, does
unofficially.
that mean you've been started getting paid? Is that what we mean officially?
Yeah, exactly. I started getting paid for it in 23, but before that I was doing it for a few years before.
How did you get roped into it? Was you just like, oh, you're a man, you know what cables are. Come and do this.
Genuinely, yeah. It was literally just like, okay, so you're the admin, but you're fancy with technology, computers. So
You know,
yeah, would
you
you
can
mind
use
just
Teams, so you're
yeah,
qualified.
would you
Yeah.
mind just looking at the mannequins? We've got these mannequins that we never use. Do you mind just looking at them, see if they, how they work?
Have
I was
you
like,
turned them on? Yeah, that kind of thing.
that's about as far as I'd gotten. I'll be honest.
Yeah. So did you? So did you say you're like the admin, what of the simulation center or medical education or what kind of situation?
Yeah, I was an admin assistant at the time because I
Hmm.
was warehouse operative before that for a couple of years, which I had to start doing because I have epilepsy. So then I decided to try and move into admin, and I saw there was a clinical skills admin role going at the trust. I was like, sure, why not? I've never done admin before, but I'll move into this and give it a try. And then a few months into that, they're like, we know you like setting up the rooms and you're good with tech, so we've got these mannequins. Would you mind having a look at them for us and see if you know that you can figure out how they work? So I was like, sure.
Yeah. So there was no dedicated tech there while you was
No,
there.
I'm literally the first technician our trust has had. So
Ah, that's not surprising actually. In
yeah,
fairness, so they had to go through a little bit of a transfer of your job description then from your admin assistant to where you are today. Are you
yeah.
officially under ESR kind of thing as a simulation technician now?
Oh yeah, all above board and official now as a sim tech. So
Did
and
you have to interview for your position, or was it literally just a little bit of a job change?
I did have to do an interview. Yeah, I had to do a little mini simulation for them as a demonstration and stuff. But
Yeah.
I demonstrated a few things that they didn't know the mannequins could do, and they were like, "Oh, actually, yeah, this could be worth doing. Actually, having someone who has a bit more knowledge about this."
What kind of mannequins?
We got some Gomard mannequins, and it was just silly little things like showing them how to manually take blood pressure. And like, oh, we didn't actually know that it could do that. And I was like, there's a lot of stuff that it can do, but they just use as bodies most of the time. Before that, it was like they would have the simulation would essentially be would just have the body, and then they would just be telling the candidates what the obs were,
Mm,
and the mannequins wouldn't even be turned on half the time.
just using them as a shell.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, that's quite an expensive shell, really. Like,
Yeah.
we could just
Well, they
use
wouldn't even know
these.
it was expensive, would they? Because, like I say, they've
Oh yeah, exactly.
just turned up. So what's a normal day look like for you then?
A normal day, it's like it varies, and it's a lot of plate spinning. So you got your setting up for sims, trying to set up future sims, but then also you got your admin, but then also other people giving you little jobs because it's like, oh, you don't look too busy. I am quite busy,
Mm,
but yeah, you sure.
yeah.
So I'm getting involved with our Tell team as well now, setting up some online learning and doing virtual reality stuff. But I'm introducing sort of more moulage aspects in, which they'd never
Yeah.
had before.
Where did you, obviously coming from an admin position, where did you find places to train yourself? Because obviously you were pretty much thrown in at the deep end. Where were you learning what the mannequin does? Where are you learning your moulage and your VR skills from?
Um, Most of it was just self-taught because in terms of background, I have like high school level IT, and then I did media studies at college. I went to the same college as Gareth Edwards, the guy who directed Star Wars Rogue One. Because I was
Mm,
like, because I'm from Dunedin. I remember growing up watching Kes directed by Ken Loach and thinking, oh, I want to be a director. I want to go into media,
yeah,
and then seeing special effects wizards like Stan Winston and Tom Savini, I was like, oh, that sounds really cool as well, doing special effects. But then that trying to get into that business is difficult, so I end up just
yeah,
falling into warehouse work for a couple of years, thinking I'm never going to get to use these skills. But then when I moved in here, I'm like, oh, actually,
yeah. There's a lot of transferable skills
yeah,
here.
all these skills
Yeah,
that I just had lying around, like I can
yeah,
actually use this.
yeah. I mean, where again, I, I have a soldier background, so I'm one of the rarest ones. I think I have a medical background coming in as a tech, so my tech skills were non-existent. I was one of the people that looked for techs, and I just kind of fell into this role. But
Oh
at the
yeah,
moment, I'm learning how to use Premiere Pro to its maximum. So we're doing a psychosis. VR, well, VR 360, and we're doing like a point of view from the psychosis. Um, so we're hearing a lot of inner thoughts, playing around with like colors and reflections and stuff. So again, I wish I just had the background to be able to. I have this vision that I want to do, but then
oh yeah, nice.
having the skills to do it is a whole other story, isn't it? Really.
Oh yeah,
But again, I find a lot of my tutorials on things like YouTube and ChatGPT helps me out a lot when I've got a very sticky question. Like how do I do this? I just whack it in there, and it generally tells me the answer. But because the job description is so broad, I don't think any tech is fully qualified.
yeah, definitely. That was the hardest part actually of getting this job because it only took me a month or two to show the value and convince people that creating the SimTech role was a good idea.
Mm,
But they were just kept coming back to me saying, we don't actually know what this job is. We've never had this job before. And all the descriptions we're seeing online are just wildly different. So we have no idea what this is.
yeah. So I don't know. Did you make Aspie up in Edinburgh this year or last year?
I missed Asper this year, I'll be honest.
Yeah, so the job description played a huge part from the tech sig part of it, and a lot of it was trying to marry up job descriptions to different bandings. And again, I think managers just jot down some notes of what they want for their simulation center, what they want their tech to do.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
because my job description, honestly, is nothing like what I actually do. I mean, if they looked at it, they'd be like, "What is this?" Um,
Yeah,
but
I feel like I've got the same situation going on, yeah.
yeah.
I got a job description to get me into the role, and now it's like, here's what we actually want you to do.
Yeah. Can I be so bold to ask as what band you came in at?
Band 3.
Okay, so you're what might be classed as quite a junior sim tech. So what you've got to kind of watch out for there on your banding is that you, no doubt you'll be doing the same job as what a band 5 tech will be doing in a different place.
Oh, yeah,
But
definitely.
because it sounds like you've had the wool pulled over your eyes a little bit, and because your managers just don't know, they're not involved in the simulation community, as it were, and nobody really speaks to each other on it, do they? So
That's true. Yeah.
it's rough, but you know. Did you mention you're doing an apprenticeship, or are you thinking about doing an apprenticeship?
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting into my final months of my apprenticeship with Hampshire Trust, which has really helped actually because I've learned a lot of extra skills from that, and it's really consolidated a lot of my knowledge.
Is
So
it the actual SimTech apprenticeship or is it under a different name?
yeah, it's actually like a SimTech apprenticeship. So
Yeah, I mean, because there's a few out there that kind of relate to simulation, but it's like digital, blah blah blah, whatever it is.
oh yeah,
And just because it's medical education, and they say, yeah, this is the closest thing that we can find to a SimTech apprenticeship. But I know there's been a lot of work to actually get it recognised these days, isn't it? Do you have like a final project or anything on your apprenticeship? Is there something that you're building up towards?
yeah, I'm building up towards my sort of my final assessment. So at the minute, it's just creating my portfolio. So I'm
Yeah,
preparing for that. I've just had my second witnessing recently with my line manager. So I've got a
yeah.
very supportive team.
We had a meeting a while back, and what the again, it might be a different company, but they were looking for apprenticeship assessors. So they were looking
Oh yeah,
for
yeah.
techs to, because at the moment there's only a few of them around, and what they want is they want a couple in each region to be able to go and assess, because what you can't actually assess people you know or that you've been involved with. So they need various different assessors. But to do that role, you need loads of bespoke qualifications and accreditations. So it's really hard to catch hold of the right person or the right tech that fits those kind of lines. Do you have someone coming out to do that kind of thing, to like invigilate your apprenticeship work?
Yeah, I will do when it gets to my end point assessment. But it might probably be someone I've bumped into in the SimTech community in the SIG group. So I'll probably
Yeah,
recognise them when they turn up.
yeah. Like I say, it's a small world, especially if you're networking a lot in your region. And do you have a decent simulation network down there? Do you know?
Yes, we got a pretty active little community in the Midlands, so
Yeah.
not too bad.
Do you have any like communication with your ASPE tech lead or your champion, as it were?
I've not actually had too much communication with the ASPE guys, but they seem to be around if I need them. But
Yeah, well, that's exactly it at the moment. I know there's a bit of a big push because everyone's working in these little silos at the moment, aren't they? So we're
oh
trying
yeah,
to get everybody out of them, really. Um, so you say you've been doing the job a couple of years. What's your favourite thing? What do you like about it?
something that I've got a lot of value from is just showing like the worth of fidelity and stuff. Because seeing the change that just having the Simtech in position's been, going from, like I say, back having the mannequins just be bodies that they were just talking
Mm,
about, to now having when the students come in just being like, oh, actually, it's doing stuff.
yeah.
It's actually doing. Oh, look at this! Is that like a real wound? Is that like a? Is that? And you're like, yeah, like the
Do you have
genuine
a
surprise.
Do you have like a core faculty that deal with your simulation, or are they all like in and out? Kind of external, just coming in every so often.
We've got like a little. We've got like a core team
Yeah,
because originally it was like clinical skills, and I was just like a vestigial organ, just like the sim tech on the attached
yeah,
to clinical skills wasn't like a sim group, but we're now split, so it's clinical skills and sim. So I've got my own little colleagues and facilitators. So that's because I think that was the thing, seeing sim being run well and seeing it have like a positive impact. They're like, oh, actually, yeah, this is worth investing in.
yeah. It's easy to pick up a lot of bad habits if you don't.
Oh yeah,
Almost like quality control what they're coming and doing. They just go rogue sometimes, don't they?
yeah, definitely.
You mentioned VR. What kind of stuff you're doing with VR or wanting to do with it?
We're integrating it at the minute. We're trying out a bunch of different like your OMSs and goggle minds and things like that, trying to integrate it in because there is going to be a move, I think, to more VR and augmented reality and stuff. Because hopefully, there's always be a place for physical simulation, but there does seem to be a bit of more of a push towards digital technologies and stuff. So
Yeah, I was on a webinar yesterday run by Sim Skills. I don't know if you made it, but it was all there was a lady from Australia, Juliana. She's doing I think she said she's doing a doctorate or something, and she's created this AI virtual patient. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah,
so the way that the world's going is that simulation is almost going to be coming with some big changes at some point. Where these mannequins they're going to be a little bit dated soon. I can see that the
yeah.
medical
I could see that
education
happening.
part of it's going through some big changes. Um, can I ask a little bit of a personal question? You
Sure.
mentioned that you had epilepsy, and now you've mentioned VR. Is there a little bit of a risk here? Or have you had any kind of incidents going on with using VR and your epilepsy?
No, thankfully for me, I'm not photosensitive.
Ah, I see.
It's more like heat, stress, and lack of sleep that get me. But
Okay. Does it not put your managers on edge a little bit?
this time of year, it puts them on edge. Like during these heat waves in June, it's very much just like, right, we need to make sure other people know how to use the mannequins just in case, like, Mike just
Oh
randomly
God, that
drops
is
us.
such a managerial thing to say, isn't it? Who's going to do the tech if he has a fit? What about the risk assessment? What kind of projects you working on? You got anything in the pipeline?
uh, yeah, yeah. Like I say, we're really having like a push to bring more like moulage in at the minute
Hmm.
because that's something that we've got a lot of positive feedback from the students, and that's it's sort of become my own little project. They've decided it's Mikey moulage, so they're like, because I it's SPO attended a few years ago. I was in the bloody disgusting workshop, and I was like, this
Yeah.
is the sort of stuff that I was thinking. This is something I could definitely bring in,
Yeah, I
and
have a
it's
theory that every tech has their own little speciality, one thing that they love better than everything else. And if yours sounds like you're a bit of a makeup artist kind of speciality going on. Where do you find your resources? You done any courses or anything?
yeah, I've done a few like day courses and stuff, and
How do you find them?
yeah, they're really interesting as well, and they offer a lot of good feedback because one of the best feedbacks I got was to not overdo things because especially coming from sort of like a horror film makeup sort of experience background,
Yeah,
you end up like really over bloodying stuff and making things really gory, and they're like probably wouldn't be that bloody in real life. So maybe
it's meant
just
to be a scratch, and you've done
yeah,
an axe wound.
yeah. We need a scratch, and you've lopped their arm off. Like
Yeah. What the thing that bothers me the most is that you can spend a good 15 minutes on a nice wound of bleeding out, and then they just come and put a bandage on it. I'm like, come
yeah,
on, at least leave it up. I couldn't even get a good zoom on there. You just come in straight away and put a bandage right over the top of it. Rude. What's your favourite thing to do on moulage? What do you like making?
I love anything with blood. I love like when you're crafting the wounds and latex and stuff, getting
Yeah,
all the little tendons and things, and try and make it look as realistic as possible. I could
yeah,
spend hours doing that. Just
yeah. I mean, there's definitely something therapeutic about it, isn't there? Almost.
oh yeah,
Uh,
especially after you've had like you have a stressful day, and then you think, you know what, I'm just gonna just seclude myself in a room, get some music on, and just start painting some wounds.
yeah, I like a good burn injury, like a whole front of chest, face kind of situation where they might have to do front and neck access.
Oh yeah, nice.
I like those kind of injuries. But yeah, again, I have this little bit of a rule where if you can't do it in 5 minutes, don't do it. You know, because they just cover it over, and you spend too long just faffing around when maybe just a little bit of blood is fine to give them the impression, but it's
Yeah,
it's all for the immersion in it.
yeah. You reminded me that the first time I actually included it, we were doing this simulation. It was only a rash, but I was like, I'm gonna make this a really good rash. I must have spent like an hour or so painstakingly recreating this rash I'd seen, and only one of the two groups turned up, and then they just lifted the shirt up, went, "Hmm, yeah, there's a rash." put it back down, and I was like, it hurt. I was like,
Yeah,
I've spent so long doing that, and you've just
yeah.
took had a quick little glance and gone, yeah, there's a rash there.
Yeah, I've learnt my lesson. Sometimes, just some red dots on the chest will give them the impression
Yeah,
of a rash. But you do have to have a little bit of pride in your work, don't you? You can't just,
yeah.
sometimes you see, look, okay, there's a sim man, he's got a red line on his arm. Yeah, he's been stabbed, that kind of thing. Sometimes it's a little bit cringe, isn't it? And
Oh
sometimes you
yeah.
just got to do it properly.
My
Um,
manager Lynn actually after the sim was like, no, no, have a proper look. This is really nice. Like
yeah,
Mike have spent a lot of time doing this, and I'm like, I
yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you.
And that's why I tend to take a little bit of a picture afterwards. Then
Yeah,
it's not completely wasted. I've always got the memories.
yeah. That's what I keep saying. I keep telling myself, at least it's I've got something for portfolio at least.
Yeah. What kind of kit do you use? Where do you buy your makeup?
I've got like a pre-made kit that I got from the bloody disgusting guys because
Yeah.
this is just a lot of really useful stuff. That
Do you have any problem like ordering your stuff through your procurement?
yes, it's an absolute nightmare. So
Mm.
you have to justify even like buying some staples. It's like right, we've
Yeah,
got to
it's
put
rough at the
especially
moment.
now with the NHSE thing. It's like everything needs to be justified like two or three times. So you're just like
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I also have trouble because most of the time I can get away with just a normal makeup wheel rather than having anything that's got Ben Nye's signature on it or anything. I
yeah.
don't need all fancy. But then they're like, why is this guy buying makeup from some makeup factory or something? They're like, what's going on here? So nothing ever goes through.
I know what you mean.
Um, so I end
It's
up just buying it myself most of the time, and trying to claim
yeah.
it back. But most of the time I fail, so I just end up spending my own money on my own makeup.
Yeah, I used to like make my own kits up, like buying from different suppliers, but now that I have to like justify it so much, I just like, you know what, I will get a kit that's made up and pre-made because at least if I'm having to jump through a million hoops, at least I'm able to do that once.
Uh, okay, so what kind of headsets are you using for your VR? What kind of stuff are you using?
We got some Meta Quest 3s,
Finding any
which
issues with the licensing or the accounts or anything like that? Are you using like some kind of management system for it all?
we essentially just got like our own just accounts, so we're just using those for the students. So it's not too not no not too much of an issue because we're not done like a big rollout. We're just doing sort of like a proof of concept trial at the minute. So we're getting like just like one or two people in at a time. So we're able
Yeah.
to use our own licenses at the minute.
Is it evaluating well?
It is, yeah. I mean, everyone who isn't motion sick, anyone who gets motion sickness is like, I've had the worst day today. Everyone else though is like, this is brilliant. So it's
Yeah.
it's one extreme or the other.
Yeah, the nausea and the sickness. I mean, we put probably 1,000 people through a year, and it's very rare. I think it's almost certainly under 1% for the people that
Yeah,
are
yeah,
complaining about that stuff. And I find that most of the people are complaining about it. I'm not sure it's true. They're probably just a little part of them just doesn't like it, and I don't think it is the
yeah,
sickness part of it. I think they're just like complaining about it, really.
yeah. I think a lot of it's quite like mentally as well because they're going into it thinking I'm going to be sick, as in
Yeah,
it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy then because
yeah,
you're
it
like
does.
I'm not gonna like this, I'm not gonna like this, and they have it on for like a second, like yep, nope, nope, can't do it.
Yeah, I'm a true believer that I don't think it's the virtual reality concept that makes people sick. It's the content that they're going to watch. So if you've captured it properly, for instance, a 360 video, most of the time the camera is quite static, um,
Yeah,
unless you're attaching it. I think we did the corridor was blocked on a labour ward, and the lady was getting pushed on a bed down the corridor, and that was a little bit like a roller coaster. I've got to admit, it
oh
does it
yeah,
is a little bit nausea inducing, I guess. But apart from that, I think most of ours been quite sedate and just still. If they're getting dizzy, it's because they're moving their own heads too much.
yeah.
So
I've
it's
noticed quite a lot of time as well. It'll be like because they're moving themselves with the sticks as well, so
mm,
that So they're moving differently to how their body's moving, and then they're instantly just like, whoa. That's when it really gets them. Because I'm like, right, avoid the sticks as much as possible and just walk around the room like you would normally. That's the best advice I can give you, because otherwise, it is going to be like being in a car. Your body's going to think you're moving when you're not, and it's going to
Yeah.
freak you out. So
I mean, most of ours, then, they're sat down anyway, so they're not really up and about. Do you let them walk around while blindfolded? Is that part of it?
yeah, we've got like our obviously we always like set up the safe area with the
Yeah.
quest and everything, and we explain to them beforehand. But like, if you see a grid, stop walking towards that grid, because
That's the wall.
yeah, because when the first day we had it, we were just trying out as the team, and a colleague of mine headbutted the wall because he was getting very energetic. He was like, "I'm going to save this child," and he's running around the room, and he just ran straight into the wall.
Oh
And we're like,
dear.
"Right, we now have."
I hope you caught that on camera.
We did, yes.
Yeah, of course you did.
And we're just like, right, so now we need to now create a bunch of safety protocols, because that's. But at
Yeah.
least it was, at least it was someone on our team.
Well, that's what you call truly tested.
Exactly,
Working
exactly.
out the flaws of it all. Um, is this it for you? Where would you like to go? What's your career path? Have you found a path through what you want to do in the next 5-10 years, or are you just happy being a tech?
I'm pretty happy being a tech. I would like to potentially move into a more senior role in the future,
Hmm.
but
What's the what's the chances? Do you see a lot of simulation jobs in your area, or is there few and far between?
I'll be honest, at the minute, especially after the NHSE thing recently, because they were saying this to me recently. They were saying we're going to upgrade you and upband you at some point, but trying to justify any kind of band change now with
Yeah,
jobs as
it's
they are
rough.
in the NHS, it's almost impossible. So until things settle down, I'm probably stuck where I am. Potentially just stuck until I just move into higher education, because the universities, that's where I think there's a lot less issues with the banding and the pay and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right there. I think I always see them buying nice new flashy stuff in the universities, and I never
yeah,
hear them complaining about funding like the NHS does. But yeah, definitely over the last even 6 months, the NHS has gone through a big change, hasn't it, with spending.
oh
And I
yeah,
always know that a band change is a pain in the butt for managers. They don't like doing it because it's a lot of work.
yeah, it's like trying to justify it and everything.
But you've got to keep pushing it, otherwise nobody else will push it, will they?
Exactly. If I wasn't pushing the SimTech job in the first place, I'd still be an admin that just did it on the side for free. So
Yeah, yeah, that's a nice way of thinking about it, I guess. Um, Coming up to the end of our time, as told you, it would go pretty fast. Um,
it's flew by, to be honest.
yeah. What would you give? What kind of advice would you give to someone just starting out then as a sim tech?
I would say like there is definitely like value to the position, and it's always worth speaking up, even if you think like I've only been in this job 5 minutes, because like I'm still doing my apprenticeship, and I was there thinking coming on here, I was like, there's people with decades of experience, and I'm gonna sound like you know like, I'm gonna be here like, yeah, I've been doing the job for like 2 years and I know everything, but and they're gonna think, oh,
Everyone's
what are they on
the,
about?
the words that you're saying will echo in everybody's. Everyone will be able to mirror. They'll be like, "Yeah, I went through
Yeah,
that. Yeah, I completely understand
it's
what
like,
what he's going through."
yeah, like don't be afraid that you've got some kind of like imposter syndrome and stuff. Like everyone
Oh, yeah. I mean,
has a
everyone
different,
suffers from it. Yeah, I think
yeah,
everyone's got a little bit of imposter syndrome going on, hasn't they? Because
yeah, and everyone's had like a different route into this job, so they've all got different perspectives. So like your
yeah,
perspective is just as valuable as someone else who's been doing the job for
yeah,
however
and
long.
for it, like all the people that I meet and I speak to, I don't think anybody is completely confident in where they are. They're always learning, or there's always something new that people are picking up because techs are not hired. You hire people and then they become sim techs.
Yeah.
It's very rare. I can't imagine. I suppose only when would ever a sim tech go for another job in a sim center is if another band appeared or a new sim center was created.
Yeah.
But those most people are happy where they work. Most people wouldn't even move anyway.
Yeah. I don't think I've met a sim tech that said this is the job I expected to be in. Everyone I've talked to is like, I
Mm.
just fell into this somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
turned
anyone
up to
went to
work
school or
and
college or university saying I want to be a sim tech. I don't think anyone ever uh, has ever thought that ever. I'm pretty confident that's never happened. I think again, it's just through decisions and opportunities that people find themselves in this kind of role, don't they?
oh yeah.
All right, well, Michael, thank you for coming today. I told you I would be very nice and I wouldn't be mean to you. But what I would love to do is invite you back at some point to maybe talk a little bit more about your apprenticeship and how that went for you. Because again, you're going through a journey that some people might be thinking about or a little bit anxious about, and maybe your
Yeah, I'll be
insights
happy to
would
do
be
that,
really
yeah.
valuable. All right, Michael. Well, thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thanks for this. It's been nice.
No worries. All the best.
Cool.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the SimTech podcast. A huge thanks to Mike for sharing his story and giving us a real world look at what it's like to go from a med ed to simulation technician. It's always great to hear how different backgrounds contribute to the sim world, and Mike's journey is a reminder that there's no single path into this role. Just curiosity, a willingness to learn, and a passion for support and training that makes a difference. If you enjoyed today's episode, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with anyone thinking about a career in simulation. And as always, if you've got a story to tell, a product to share, or a project to shout about, get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay hands-on, and keep simming.